If you're looking to learn exactly what B2B lead generation is, how it works, and how you can use it to get meetings with your dream clients, stick around because we're gonna get all your questions answered in this video. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dan here. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this, and let's get started. Now, the first step is we got to define exactly what B2B lead generation is, and the definition we're going to use is the process of getting businesses interested in learning more about your products and services before making a decision. And that's essentially taking somebody who has no idea who you are, right? And you're educating them, or you have some type of process to get them somewhat interested so that you can have a conversation to see whether or not it makes sense to work together. And of course, when I'm talking about B2B business development, I'm specifically referring to when a business wants to do some type of commerce with another business. This is very different from B2C, which is business to consumer. Business to consumer is like if you're walking into a Nike store, you're buying some sneakers for yourself. You know, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about selling business products to business people. So let's go ahead and talk about the different lead generation methods you can use to generate these leads and get companies interested in buying your products and services. The first one that most of you guys might be familiar with, especially if you are in sales or business development, is outbound lead generation. This is when you're typically reaching out to another company to drum up some interest, either using cold email, LinkedIn, or cold calling. And essentially for these methods, you are reaching out to someone cold, meaning they don't know who you are. And within your first impression, you have to get them interested to wanting to learn more about your products and services. Now, outbound is a little more difficult because you are reaching out to strangers. It's not a referral. It's not a friend recommending you. It's not like they looked at some type of your marketing or website. They have no idea who you are. And so that's why you're trying to generate interest using cold call, email, or LinkedIn. Now, the second type of lead generation you can use in the B2B environment is actually inbound lead generation. This is when you are using things like YouTube videos, blogs, Instagram, LinkedIn articles, being featured in Forbes or any other publication, and that's when leads are coming in to you, right? You put out some content, people are already interested. In a way, they're raising their hand and they're saying, I am interested in what you have to offer. And then from there, if they capture your email or have some way to schedule a meeting to talk to a salesperson, well, that is an inbound lead. So let's say Outreach, for example, which is a sales enablement software company, right? They help people send cold emails and schedule meetings and things like that, right? So if somebody went on outreach.io and they press the button, download the report. Essentially, when you want to download, let's say, any type of PDF, white paper, or any type of marketing material, you would have to enter your name and company, things like that. And more importantly, your work email address. So when you actually put in this information, you're put into their marketing database and you become an inbound lead. And once you give your information, like your name, company you work at, your company email, and your title and things like that, a salesperson is going to be assigned that lead, and they're going to follow up with you and try to book a call to see whether or not you want to purchase their more expensive products and services. And in terms of, let's say, like YouTube marketing, right? So let's say for Outreach, again, if somebody watches this YouTube video, which has 100,000 views, if they want to learn more about this company, they click on the link in the description, and then that link will take them to, let's say this is a landing page where they can watch some type of demo. So to get this demonstration, what they have to do again is put in their name, last name, company name, work email address, and that would be an inbound lead. So after this person watches the video, they are somewhat qualified, and the salesperson could be like, hey, this guy watched the video or this girl watched the video, so they're kind of interested. Let me try to follow up with them to see if I could book a meeting and then sell them something, right? So that essentially is how inbound works. So for inbound, it's much easier compared to outbound because people are coming in, they are already educated on who you are and what value you bring. Now, the third way of lead generation is actually paid advertising. Some people actually, categorize this as inbound lead generation, but we're gonna put it as a third pillar because when you're doing advertising, it's not as if people are coming to you. It's not really inbound. It's that you have to prospect and you find these people who have no idea who you are, but instead of sending them a cold email, you're kind of making them watch a video as a YouTube ad or a Facebook ad, or you have some kind of sales copy or something like that to get them to click the link and go to your website. So paid advertising could be anything from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, basically any platform where you're allowed to run ads. That's a form of prospecting to generate leads, and then from that ad, The whole goal is to get them to your website, capture their email address, and put them through your sales process. And ultimately, a salesperson is gonna get on the phone to see if they are qualified to buy your products and services. Now, the whole goal of lead generation, whether it's outbound, inbound, paid advertising, whatever form of lead generation you and your company use, the whole goal when it comes to a B2B selling environment is to book a meeting and continue them through the sales process, right? So if you are selling something expensive, whether it's in the $1,000 range, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, even $50,000, usually, before a company makes a purchasing decision, they need to talk to somebody over the phone or meet them in person because they need to trust that person and trust that company and see whether or not they're actually going to get value because they're spending so much money on your offer. And so that's why the whole goal of lead generation is usually to book a meeting with a sales or business development person or closer or somebody they need to talk to before they actually make a decision to buy. Now, if you are, let's say, a sales or business development person, or maybe you are an entrepreneur, right? You don't have to specifically just do one form of lead generation and that's it. Normally, people start with one, and when they get it to start working, they can branch out to other things. For example, let's say if you're a software company, you might be reaching out to everybody with cold email and you get some customers that way. Once you understand why people are buying, maybe you can run ads and try to find more people similar to the ones that bought your product and services, right? And then from there, maybe you want to write some articles on Forbes, or maybe you want to start a blog and do some SEO marketing and get more people down the funnel. But ultimately, whether it's outbound, inbound, paid advertising, the goal is to funnel them down into your sales process, which is to book a meeting so that you have a mechanism to actually generate revenue for your company in exchange of value that you're giving to your clients. So if you look at the basic sales process, it's lead generation, whether it's inbound, outbound, paid advertising, booked meeting, right, with a salesperson who has the opportunity to close the client, and finally the close, right, actually following up, negotiating, and finally closing the deal. So that's essentially like a basic sales process most companies, typically will have. Now, an important part of lead generation is understanding what is a qualified lead and what is actually a good lead. So just because you're booking a lot of appointments, it doesn't mean you're using your time effectively, because let's say in a month, maybe you get 50 meetings, right, which is quite a bit. Now, out of those 50 meetings, if nobody buys, then it doesn't matter how many meetings you have because these people are not even qualified to purchase your product and service. So that's why whatever method of lead generation you're using, there has to be some type of qualification before a salesperson gets on the phone, because the better the lead generation process is, it makes the life easier of that salesperson, right? Because if someone is already hot, they're ready to buy, they understand their problem, and they just need to talk to somebody and move forward, well, the salesperson doesn't even have to sell anything. They just basically take the order, right? It's very easy. But if the customer has no idea what you do, who you are, they're just on the meeting for no reason, and the salesperson, has trouble selling them or showing them the value, well, it's hard to sell because the lead is not good. So, whatever lead generation method you use, have a way to qualify the prospect, right? If you're doing outbound lead generation, try to have some kind of ideal customer profile that has a high likelihood of making a purchasing decision. Now, if you're doing paid advertising, you want to make sure that the person, has to go through a lot of filters and qualify themselves and share their budget and their problems and things like that before they even get on a call with a salesperson, right? So that's why you're pre-screening people so that you can save the time of a salesperson. So just know that not every lead is equal, right? It depends on where the lead comes from, how it came. A lot of times inbound leads are a lot better than outbound leads because they're already hot, but every company is going to depend. And so with that said, that is B2B lead generation in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let me know what's the number one thing that you learned in this video and share it in the comments. With that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.